Look at all this stuff. You see this plastic? 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 It's gonna outlive us for hundreds of years. I'm talking your great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren will still see the same fork that you ate from yesterday. You know great-grandmother left us this heirloom of a plastic fork. I mean, just look at it. It looks just as new as it came out of the factory 30 years ago. Oh wait, I think I finally see a crack. It's starting to degrade. How exciting. Are you concerned about this? Well, you should be, but watch out now, because there is a new plastic in town, and it is called biodegradable or bioplastic. But don't be fooled, because those labels are actually much more misleading than they sound. Today, we're going to talk about 4 facts that you need to know about plastic that is petroleum, plant, or bio-based, and you will be astounded by how misleading all of those labels are. My name is Amari Walker, and today we're going to get into it. Let's trash talk. So let's get into our facts. Fact number 1. Plastic can be made from a variety of sources, including natural gas, coal, and crude oil. The majority of plastic today is made from crude oil, which contains a mixture of thousands of chemicals that need to be processed through distillation in oil refineries. This is not good for climate change because it's a release of greenhouse gases. Petroleum-based plastic is made through processes called polymerization and polycondensation. Thermoplastics are pliable in heat and then harden when cooled, and that's made the majority of the plastic that we encounter every day, like our polypropylene, polyethylene, even polystyrene. Thermoset polymers are usually hard and will never become pliable again after they've cured. Examples include polyurethane or epoxy. All of these plastics are going to take an incredibly long amount of time to degrade in our environment, spanning from 50 to hundreds of years. And as they're degrading, they're turning into, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Come on, you know exactly what I'm going to say, microplastics. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the 10 facts you need to know about microplastics. It's likely to blow your mind. Well, we gotta fight climate change, right? We can't just keep producing plastic with petroleum and crude oil, right? Well, perhaps. Fact number 2. Bioplastics and plant-based plastics are made from renewable resources. Bioplastics can have the exact same functionality and characterization of a petroleum-based plastic, but it's just made with a better resource than crude oil. For example, bio-based polyethylene is actually made from sugarcane instead of natural gas and oil. Now, plant-based plastics are actually made from agricultural scraps, like our bamboo, our starch, cellulose. Those are great to reuse things that we're no longer putting to use. Right now, of all the plastic that's being produced in this world, just about 1% is actually bio-based plastic. But that number is likely to grow. Well, if we replace all our plastics with bioplastics, then all of our problems are solved, right? Everything environmental related is gonna be taken care of. Ooh, actually, fact number 3. Most plastics, whether it is bio-based or petroleum-based, are not actually biodegradable under environmental conditions. That means they're gonna live to long time spans than what they were intended for. Great. Now, to be degradable, it just means that you need to be able to decompose into smaller pieces, and then eventually, over longer time spans, you will degrade into the original products that you are made of. But that process takes a long time because you need exposure to heat, air, light, water, mechanical processes, and just long amounts of time to degrade into smaller pieces of plastic. To be biodegradable, it means that you are degraded by biological processes like microorganisms or enzymes, and you will transform that plastic from its original source or its original product into carbon dioxide, water, and biomass. And this process is supposed to take much shorter time spans. An example includes PLA. It's degraded by enzymes like lipase and protease. But here's the catch. A lot of the plastic being marketed as being sustainable and biodegradable is actually just a bio-based plastic or just not biodegradable at all. Some examples include biopolyethylene or bio-PET is actually not biodegradable. But if you see something that's labeled bio-PE, you're gonna wanna buy it, right? Because it's not made from oil, but it's gonna take just as long to degrade in the environment. Bio-PLA and bio-PHA are listed as biodegradable plastics. Plant-based plastics are also assumed to be biodegradable. And then petroleum-based plastics that are listed as biodegradable include PBS and PBAT. Just remember, time and degradation conditions actually matter for us to determine if something is biodegradable. Most studies, when they look at biodegradation of these plastics, are doing it under high temperatures, just in the condition of being exposed to one enzyme in the environment or one microorganism in particular, or just really unrealistic conditions than they would find in a typical landfill or industrial setting or even in the environment. Some lab-based studies have shown degradation to occur between 1 to 20 days with just a few enzymes or a single enzyme under really high temperature conditions, ranging from 82 degrees to almost 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, where are we gonna find that kind of condition in the environment? Where is 140 degree water or soil? In contrast, the studies showing actual environmental samples vary from days to years when they're actually put in realistic settings. So it's really hard to determine that these things are actually biodegradable when they can take much longer time spans than what they're advertised to do. One of the greatest examples is PLA will not degrade in seawater. Well, where do a lot of our plastics end up? If they end up being thrown into our environment, a lot of them end up collecting in our oceans. So if they're not going to degrade, how is that going to help us? Now, a lot of these plastics are also labeled as compostable, but that usually means that you have to take it to an industrial compost center. And those can have temperatures that range in those higher, 80 to 140 degrees. So in general, most of the plastics that are labeled as biodegradable or compostable plastics actually need an industrial facility to degrade those plastics properly in shorter time spans. But get this, we don't have enough industrial facilities that will actually take these plastics. There are 4,713 compostable facilities in the United States, but less than 100 of them openly accept compostable plastics to their plant to degrade them. So where's all this plastic gonna go? It's gonna end up in our landfills, it's gonna end up in our environment, and it's gonna take almost as long as the original petroleum-based plastics that we've been using for years. How are we gonna manage this waste if it ends up in our landfills or environment? Well, it can't be nearly as harmful as a petroleum-based plastic, right? And this is why you need my final fact. Fact number 4. The chemicals present in bio-based or even plant-based plastics can be just as toxic as petroleum-based plastic that we've been using for years. Just as toxic. Well, we mostly focus on how our plastic is produced or how long it's likely to live in our environment. We're not really focusing on the fact that we are constantly in contact with it, and other environments are also going to be in contact with this plastic upon disposal. So what about the chemicals that we are interacting with when we pick up that plastic water bottle and drink out of it? Or when we microwave our TV dinner? A newly released study took 43 bio-based, plant-based, and just biodegradable plastics and looked for the chemicals inside of them. And they found tens of thousands of different kinds of chemicals in all of these products, most of the plastic that they tested were food contact materials, things that we interact with on a daily basis. More than half of the plastics that they tested induced baseline toxicity, and some even led to cell death or endocrine disruption. That's not good. And of the thousands of chemicals that they found in these plastics, only a couple hundred could even be properly identified because the mixture was so complex in these plastics, and a lot of the chemicals were super novel. So we really don't know what the effects are or what they do in these plastics. Well, most studies that have been done so far have shown that when plastic is exposed to soil, there's no true effect for microorganisms. A few studies have looked at PLA. PLA was able to show some level of cytotoxicity within the soil to these microorganisms. But overall, composting biodegradable plastic has no benefit or nutritional value for soil or the soil structure at all. So we're not really necessarily helping our environment by composting these plastics or placing them in the soil. So when we think about life cycle assessments for plastic and bioplastics, we need to include the effect of having all these chemicals present inside that could be harmful to us or the environment. Well, I guess it's back to the drawing board then for a better sustainable option. We honestly need to just dedicate more time to reducing waste in our environment, especially single-use plastic, and better managing our waste before it ends up in the environment. We still have a ton to learn about the field of biodegradable plastic, and that's likely to change over time as the research and the technology develops. But either way, don't be misled by the labels. Don't completely just trust something because it has a green leaf label on it. Have a little bit of curiosity associated to these things. And make sure that you identify whether it is bio-based or actually a biodegradable compostable plastic. Now, there are a few companies that are actually offering alternatives that are said to degrade in soil, in oceans, or even just be at-home compostable versus the requirement to go into an industrial facility. Have you heard of these? If so, leave a list of them in the comments below and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. If you want more information about these bioplastics or plant-based or even petroleum-based plastics, check out the description in this video below for some links and helpful news stories. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll continue to engage with my channel. See you in the next one.